Good morning, YouTubers, and now we come to Matthew chapter 4, which is an exceedingly important passage in the New Testament. So let me read the section now that we're going to be studying. It says, Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And after he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he then became hungry. And the tempter came and said to him, If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Then the devil took him into the holy city, and he had him stand on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down. For it is written, He will give His angels charge concerning you. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone. Jesus said to him, On the other hand, it is written, You shall not put the Lord your God to the test. Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain, and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, All these things will I give you if you fall down and worship me. Then Jesus said to him, Begone, Satan, for it is written, You shall worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and began to minister to him. The reason this is so important is it really focuses on an aspect of our lives that we will always have to deal with, and that is temptation. Satan's temptations. You'll notice, if you read this with a little bit of care, that Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. That's very interesting because it's a purpose clause, in order to be tempted. So God deliberately set him in this place where he knew there would be a battle. In Mark, it's even stronger. It says the Spirit drove him into the wilderness. So God ordained this meeting. And it's tremendously important to understand that the things that happen to us, the temptations and the struggles and the trials, are not the cause of mere caprice with God, but they have at their root the idea that we will learn to win, that we will learn to be victorious as Jesus was. So now, as we move down and look at the temptations, there were 3 of them. The first one, of course, is, If you're the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. The second one was, the devil took him into the holy city, and he had him stand on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, If you're the Son of God, throw yourself down. And the third one was, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, and he said to him, All these things will I give you if you fall down and worship me. So those are the 3 temptations. 2 of them basically say, Prove who you are to my satisfaction. That's what Satan wants him to do. It was an attack on his character and his nature. And the third one is a direct attack on his willingness to submit to God. Here, submit yourself to me, and you're going to get all of these wonderful kingdoms free of charge. Just submit yourself to me. That's all you have to do. When you come to this last temptation, and that is really the climax of them all, you find that that is the core of what Satan wants you to do. It's the real basic thing that if you were to ever be able to discern what Satan really wanted, it's here. He wants to destroy you through causing you to submit to him rather than God. Now, all 3 of these were answered with one thing. And that thing is not the quotation of Scripture, although that's often talked about in these passages and sermons on these passages. It's not about the quotation of Scripture. The word is resist. resistance. All three of these temptations were met with complete resistance. Satan was never going to get through that barrier. And so let me read you a passage from James that capsulizes this entire scenario. James chapter 4, verse 7. First thing he says is, submit therefore to God. So that's the first thing. You submit to God. And the second thing is, resist the devil and he will flee from you. Now, these are put in order that they have to be done. You have to have already submitted to God. You have to have already decided that whatever happens, you're God's. You belong to Him, and you're going to obey Him. So many times I see these temptations come in my own life, and I can always tell at the point where Satan makes his greatest attack is that point where I have said to myself, I'm not going to submit to God in this thing. If I have already submitted, God strengthens me so that Satan finds an impenetrable wall and he cannot attack me there. He can attack me elsewhere because I'm weak in a lot of places, but he cannot attack me there. These temptations can be almost like the fires of hell. That's the thing to remember. They're so powerful, so strong, that when you're in the midst of them, you can't think of anything else. I had a very good friend many years ago who was subject to fits of depression. And once he became a Christian, he turned to the Lord, and he told me one day that this huge cloud of depression had just come over him, and all he could do was cry out to the Lord, help, Lord, help, help, help. And eventually the depression went away, because even in his weakness, he had said to himself, I will not give in. God will give me the strength to hold on. And that's where Jesus was in this. He decided up front that he was going to obey God rather than Satan. He decided up front that no matter what the pressure was, Satan was going to find that wall. And he decided up front that he was going to submit to God and do his will. And he capsulizes this for us at the end of his ministry when he says, please, Father, let this cup pass from me. But if not, let your will be done. So that's the key, is God's will. You're submitted to that. And then Satan, you resist him and know that he will give you no quarter until you have defeated him. God bless you. Hope you have a wonderful day. This is our teaching on Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 11.